So factor by a GCF. So I believe this is the only one that I'll tell you guys to factor that way. Let me just double check on the test. But I think on the test, this is the only one I tell you this is the type of factoring you have to do. Let me see real quick. Yeah, like I tell you, you can factor, oh, I guess I do tell you guys. I tell you GCF and grouping, like I kind of give you those two types. So if I say to factor by a GCF, so hang on, sorry, that should be a third. So if it's 3 terms, I have to look for the GCF of all 3 terms. So what goes into all 3 terms here?
2x.
2x. So you're going to divide a 2x out of all 3 terms. So remember with factoring, it's really like I'm dividing each of these. Now if you like showing that division, sometimes that's kind of helpful there. So I'm dividing each of those by 2x. So I have 4x to the second. Oops, sorry. Minus 3x. And then just plus 1. We'll get rid of that. Don't forget that 1 has to be there as like a placeholder. So that's GCF factoring. The next one is factoring where there's nothing in front of the x squared. So I said to factor something like this. This is one of the ones that I know you guys struggled with, and I, for whatever reason, can't think of a way to explain it better. But don't forget about like kind of the obvious factor. And that's probably what you're missing in this one if you don't realize. So this one's the x times x kind. Once I get that, then I want to find things that multiply to give me 14, but add to give me a negative 15. You guys think of it? Most of you guys are probably thinking, well, you need 2 negatives. So, negative 2, negative 7 multiplies to give me a negative 14, but doesn't add to give me a negative 15. So negative 1, negative 14.
Oh,
So that's the one that's always kind of the obvious one that for whatever reason we miss that. So be careful there. So minus 1, minus 14. Okay. This one I'm actually going to show you guys 2 problems this next kind. I want you guys to watch out for one type that I think is easy to forget about. Okay, before you get started on this one, what do you have to remember to try to do first? It's not going to tell you to do this. So what do you have to remember to try to do first? Yep. Yeah, so look for that greatest common factor first. Don't forget about that. That's a possibility. These all can be divided by 2. So we want to do that first. Once I do that, if I take that GCF out, it makes what's inside here a lot easier to factor, because now I can just do this type of factoring, where it's x times x. I want to multiply to 12, add to 7. You guys think of it? 3 and 4. So watch out for those types that you can take out a GCF first. So don't forget to always look for a GCF first. So let me show you another one. Now this is the other type like this. Now does this one have a GCF? No, this one doesn't have a GCF. So this one we can't pull anything out. So that should be a 19. Sorry. Minus 5. Sorry. So in this case, since there's the number in the front, this is when we have to do this type of factoring. So there's that number in the front. So first and last term gets multiplied together and put on top. You guys think of it?
19
How about 20 minus 1? Right? So remember, we want to multiply to get the top one, add to get the bottom. So 20x minus 1x. And now we have to do grouping. We're going to take out a 4x here. We're left with x plus 5, right? Out of the next two, I want to take out a negative 1. And we're left with x plus 5. Guys, make sure you're following along with us. We're testing on this tomorrow. So the x plus 5 comes up, and then we're left with the 4x minus 1. Now remember, on problems like this, you do still want to check and see, can I factor any further? 4x minus 1 kind of looks a little like difference of squares, but it doesn't have the x squared. So since there's no x squared in that, I can't factor anything else out. Okay? All right, last couple here. So difference of squares, and then factoring completely. Difference of squares, is when we have something like so it's subtraction and they're both perfect squares. So automatically you can just go to 2 sets of parentheses. Now do a check for a GCF. There's no GCF in this case, nothing goes into 4x squared and y squared. But to get 4x squared, it's 2x and 2x. And then to get the y, it's y squared, it's y and y. And then we just do plus and minus. The biggest thing with when checking, can I factor further? Like when I look at these, is there anything that can come out of that? So look for a GCF. Try factoring any further. So kind of looking for other, like, can I factor anything else out? Is this a difference of squares? Whatever it happens to be. Okay? So, homework is listed here for you guys. Obviously, you know, look over the chart, make sure you guys are ready to go on all types of problems.